Hello, my loves. It's Glenda. United States history is complicated and difficult to understand, especially when you're missing parts of the story. You probably have never heard of the Red Summer, a time of violence in the United States that started February 8, 1919, and ended November 13, 1919, with over 40 acts of violence by the YT community on the black community. This is part 2 of a 14-part series, in no particular order, with the 14th being a summary of 20 other attacks of the Red Summer. On June 9, 1919, a YT woman named Ruth Meeks reported that she had been attacked on her way home from her job as a hotel clerk. She said John Hartfield, a black man, threatened her with a pew-pew. She told police he then threatened her and took her to a railroad trestle and raped her. Afterwards, he took her under a sweet gum tree near a pasture where he ran off with her clothes. Police reported finding the woman's clothing at Hartfield's house. He was pew-pewed and captured on June 24th as he tried to board a train. The sheriff held him in a jail, but a large mob of YT men took him away with no resistance from the sheriff. The mob of YT men began to organize Hartfield's strange fruiting. A YT doctor was ordered by the strange fruiters to treat Hartfield's injuries and keep him alive until they could unalive him themselves. The doctor told them they had better move fast because Hartfield would not last 24 hours. On June 26, as many as 10,000 YTs gathered in a field just outside of Ellisville, Mississippi, to watch John Hartfield get strange fruited. Vendors sold flags, trinkets, and souvenirs and photographs. Local politicians delivered speeches. Young boys climbed in the trees to look down at the screaming Hartfield. Neither government officials nor government militias did anything to interfere or intervene for the cause of due process. The NAACP officials sent a telegram to Governor Theodore Bilbo, asking him to intervene. Governor Bilbo issued a public statement that he was powerless in this situation, saying, quote, "The Negro has confessed, says he is ready to be unalived, and nobody can keep the inevitable from happening," unquote, he said. Newspaper accounts stated that not less than 2,000 pew-pew projectiles were fired into his body. One of them finally clipped the rope, and John Hartfield's body fell to the ground, and a fire was built around it, and the body was cremated to ashes. Despite the large crowd, that witnessed the strange fruiting, none of the YT men that took Hartfield from the jail could be identified, and none of the organizers of the strange fruiting, which was widely publicized in newspapers, were ever identified, though thousands saw them commit the heinous unaliving. One vendor, who had one of Hartfield's fingers, which he should not have had since they say he was cremated to ashes, stated, "We ought to unalive more of them around here. Teach them a lesson. Only way I see to stop graping is to keep on strange fruiting. I'm going to put this finger in my exhibition in my window store tomorrow, and I want you to drop around and see it," unquote. The federal government did nothing. Days later, YTs unalived a black man in neighboring Perry County after hearing him mention Hartfield's name. Governor Bilbo blamed the French for the increasing violence in the United States, claiming they had put ideals of equality in the heads of Negroes. He said, quote, "This is a YT man's country with a YT man's civilization, and any dream on the part of the Negro race to share social and political equality will be shattered in the end," unquote. 14 of the 77 black men strange fruited in 1919 were accused of assaulting YT women. In a society of laws, Each citizen deserves the constitutionally guaranteed right to a fair trial and due process. Despite isolated political efforts to curb racial violence or individual attempts to secure a fair trial, no national governmental effort ever developed to stop the anti-black attacks and strange fruiting. So it spread like wildfire across the country, feeding off news accounts, deep-seated prejudices, and general anxiety. The history of black Americans and what was done to the black community is American history, even if white Americans refuse to acknowledge that it happened. Please comment, like, follow, and share. Peace.